Good evening, guys. This is going to be the final chapter of this IFHE myth on the Akatsuki. With me to hopefully be the Mythbuster team is Extraordinary and Zion.
Hello.
Hey.
Extra is the technical guy, knows everything about World of Warships. Zion is the expert Akatsuki player, so we should definitely have a panel to finish this experiment that has been going on now for 2 months now. I hope this is the last nail in the coffin. Yeah, so what I have done now was that we have done 20 games with the build that we suggested in the last movie. Then we did 20 games with the general consensus right build from Ship Comrade, which is IFHE with Demo Expert on top of it. The conclusion, and this is on patch 6.2.2. I had to do 20 battles on 6.3 also just to confirm it. So the conclusion, just to jump to that from the beginning, was that we were right. Running fire build gives you more damage, does more damage, all in all over 20 battles. And the number we came to was that if you only focus on the HE damage per shell and fires, and you put those values per minute in the game, you end up with the build that we recommended in the last movie. With the damage you're doing per minute is 4006 with our build, and with the Ship Comrade build you did 3564. And for statistical, getting those correct, if you remove the 3 top ones and the 3 bottom ones, it actually made a bigger difference. So the difference in the other build was 442 more damage per minute with our build. If you remove the 3 top ones and the 3 bottom ones, you actually get 585 per minute damage. And to round up for the 6.3 patch, it actually made very little difference in terms of percentage. It looked very similar. The main thing which you see now on 6.3 is that the ship has gotten nerfed. It really has been nerfed because, of course, Invisifiring was a big part of it, but it makes no difference because you're still gonna get spotted if you're firing an IFHE shell or not. You are doing less damage in average per game. With on the old patch, you did in average per game 72,000. Now I'm doing about 60,000 per game. So yeah, it's gotten nerfed, but the numbers are basically percentage-wise the same, so conclusions should still apply. So I've shown the numbers to Zion and Extra. So what's your opinion on this? Is there flaws in my research?
I don't think there's flaws at all. I think that if you do the theory crafting and do an analysis of what you reasonably expect based on the numbers, I mean, you can calculate fire chance very accurately if you know the ship you're shooting at. It is interesting to see that IFHE is basically reductive in that it's a huge sink of points and you get very little in return, and that more or less matches my expectations. So it's very interesting that you've actually done an analysis with such a large number of games, and the numbers certainly are consistent with where you'd expect them to be.
Yeah, I think that after, because there was such a big discussions in the comments in the movie that we did, and my opinion is that IFHE is a lazy DD captain's tool, to say it like that.
I agree.
The Akatsuki is a ship where you have to switch between AP and HE. A lot of the guys were saying, yeah, but then the DDs are just coming bow on and etc. But in real life, that doesn't happen. In real life, you shoot at everything. And of course, in the DD brawls, DDs in randoms, they turn their side to you. 9 out of 10 times, they turn their side. I had one game in here where I ended up with a gearing, full HP gearing, 4 kilometers away. And he had his guns turned the other way. Before he had turned his guns towards me, he was dead. I fired 3 AP salvos into him, and he was dead. He hadn't even turned his guns. Even though if he's coming bow on, yeah, you're not gonna do that much AP damage, but you're not gonna do a lot of IFHC damage anyway. You're never going bow on for long. You're gonna spot each other at what, 6 kilometers? then you're going to turn away. You're not going to try and ram the DD. My conclusion was that you switch to AP, and the AP is strong. It wrecks, which the numbers also show that it's per salvo you hit, you're doing 200, or per shell you hit, you're doing about 239 damage on the AP, or between 230 and 240 per shell. When the BBs are broadside, and you just keep doing that AP. So in average, I did just on AP between 17 and 16,000 per game, just in AP damage.
So how much, using your build, your optimal build, how much damage were you doing per game in HE shell hits, and then how much were you doing on average in fires?
So the total amount in, just if you look at my build, then it was the HE damage was 12,562, then plus fires, which was 31,378. It's 44,000 almost, just in HE and fire. And then if you compare that with the numbers, of course you're doing much more damage with IFHE, you're doing 24,600 per battle, but you only did 9,000 in fires.
That's pretty telling. And also remember, one of the aspects of fires that people often omit is that fires, they don't rely on line of sight. If you set a ship on fire and they try and break off the engagement, hide in smoke or get behind terrain, they're still taking damage from those fires.
Yeah.
And although of course the other side is you get 100% repair on fires, 100%, all the damage you take from fires can be repaired by 100%, contingent only upon running out of actual repairs.
But in any way, I would guess that the 100mm shells from Nakusuki anyway is light damage. So whatever you can throw at a battleship from your guns are considered light damage, I would presume. I don't know. You cannot do citadel damage anyway.
That's right.
So,
but again, fires, the idea of having fires ticking on ships that are out of detectability range or sitting in smoke or behind terrain is a huge asset. So
yeah, you can have 2 or 3
fires.
Yeah, you can do 2 or 3 fires at the same time, basically, while you're shooting.
And your analysis also corroborates what I've been saying for a long time, which is that fire prevention in battleships at tier 8 is still really good. It's not just for tier 10 battleships.
Yeah, and also like some of the battles when I had one battle there, but I had 90k just in fires, and then I was low tier. So then I was setting, I think I had like 3 fires going at the same time on separate ships. What's you're the Akatsuki man?
Yeah, it's the first time I'm watching this number, of course, and I was expecting something different, quite the opposite of what Extraordinary was saying. But then again, when I started playing with the Akizuki like a couple months ago, I was used to the standard DD build and the standard DD play. So having the opportunity to use the HE pretty much on everything was a given for me. And when I grew accustomed to the ship in the latest weeks, I think I kind of agree with the results. You need to switch ammo type very often, and the AP on the Akizuki is really nasty, as we saw in competitive lately, even yesterday in a match where I had a close encounter with a Kiev. And I never thought I could outgun a Kiev in close range with an Akizuki with AP, and that's what happened instead. So it's pretty telling, the numbers, I say, and I would say probably the fire chance and the ability to learn to switch ammo types when you need to. It's more useful in the long term and to win games than having the magic button to spam everything with HE.
Yeah, it depends really on the ship. Some cruisers, there are some cruisers in which the AP is so negligible in terms of its damage output that you will be worthwhile spamming HE. I kind of feel a little that way with ships like the Belfast, which have those low velocity shells.
But I think that this should be a final conclusion. For me, the Akatsuki with IFHE is wrong, period. If you are lazy and you just want to spam HE and see that you do more damage per shell, sure, but that is not the right way to do it. And,
but that is a caveat that we mentioned, the fact that if you consider yourself a lower skill player, then you might want to consider opting for a more HE focused build. For everyone else though, I mean, the numbers don't lie. You're at a distinct disadvantage if you're running IFHE and you're playing at a higher skill level.
Yeah, I would say being used to the ship and how it plays, it's one of the main issues of playing the Akizuki, especially for the speed and maneuverability. And you're not used to that kind of destroyer, so maybe starting with IFHE can help getting used to the speed, getting used to the maneuverability, getting used to know when to kite, when to start moving away, when you can smoke, how to land the shell, because of course the shell are very high velocity, but over like 10 kilometers the shell speed is kind of wonky because the drag factor of the shell is really high. So it can work at the beginning using IFHE. It's a bit more comfortable maybe if you're coming from a normal lineup like a Soviet, even American one. But in the end, you need to learn how to shoot AP. Even if you have IFHE, if you have a destroyer broadside, you want to use AP anyway, because the alpha damage of a AP salvo, especially if you manage to penetrate 3/4 of the shell, is much higher than IFHE.
Yeah, even, as you said, even if you have IFHE, you need to switch to AP or not even fully broadside, but I think we tried it in a training room, and from 45 degrees and lower, it's AP whole way.
No, definitely. I learned it in first-hand experience in competitive. You need to stick with AP as long as you can, and then sometimes you can go with HE. A situation where you're chased bound by destroyer bow one are very slim usually, and either you did something wrong or you are the last one alive.
It's in those.
The destroyer is trying to YOLO you.
I think that's the situation.
You should not be in the situation where you have only bow one ships on you.
And
to maneuver and be second line.
And the thing that this is not a Benson. That is for damn sure. You are not the front line DD as a brawling. You need to have support. Don't go alone. That is for sure. So you need to be more patient in the beginning of the game and conserve your HP in the beginning, because with this build, your AA is gonna be good, but it's not gonna be good enough, and CV can easily drop you if he comes with 2 torpedo bombers. So you are not the guy who's gonna go somewhere without support. You need to have a cruiser or battleship a few kilometers away. Then you can do things, and then you just start spamming and use the smoke. Now, of course, you don't have invisifiring anymore, but I didn't feel that was a problem. You cannot do as much damage because you lose that invisifiring thing, but I didn't really feel that it was a big problem that you lost that. I think it's more fair also in the long run. I don't know what your guys think about it.
Well, I think that it's quite. I'd say it's almost disproportionately more punishing to certain cruiser types. The loss of stealth firing, especially some Royal Navy cruisers, but that's a different discussion for a different day, I guess.
I would say being from the stealth fire for the Akizuki is a big thing still, because you're too easy to hit.
But
you get some wet penetration by a Magis and such, so even if you stay at max range where you have difficulty landing on the shells, you're still too easy to hit, so you have to rely on the smoke.
Yeah, but Akizuki was OP. Also, if you're looking from a battle, it was fun to be playing. I was doing on the 6.2 patch, I had a 74% win rate with the average place on my team as number 3, and that's with a couple of really potato games where I just got killed with it instantly. But if you're looking from a balancing perspective, the Akizuki was OP'd with that stealth firing. Now I did 60% win rate with place on my team 3.45, so 4th place, I guess.
I would say he still needs something after the removal of the stealth fire, but I guess we'll see with time. I'm still not 100% sold about the actual state of the ship. I can agree before was a bit too much, maybe, but
something in the middle, maybe. Yeah, she needs a little bit love now. Yeah, it wasn't as
maybe
fun.
a couple more knots, maybe something.
Rudder shift or something.
It feels a bit too painful.
I think that if the right thing might have been to add a little bit more maneuverability, maybe that might be the.
That is always welcome for me.
I think that this should probably nail the. I'm not doing 60 more games in Akatsuki to prove it. That's for damn sure. But guys, thanks for lending your brains. If anybody still disagrees, put it in the comments. I'll link to the numbers.
Why they're wrong.
Yeah, or they can explain us where we are wrong. But yeah, then I dare you to do the same. Log your games and prove me wrong. But the conclusion stands. Everybody who is following the Ship Comrade builds on the Akatsuki is wrong. Our pay-to-win build is the right one. That's the conclusion. Any last thoughts?
I think that summed it up perfectly.
Yeah, I would say it's the correct path.
Thank you, Extraordinary and Simon, for joining. Then we will see you guys in the next movie. Bye bye.
Bye.
See you.